Yeah, tons of artists I want to collaborate with. I want to make songs with Stevie Wonder and H.E.R. and Paul McCartney and Carole King and Alessia Cara. There's lots of people.
Hey, it's your girl, Emily Curl with iHeartRadio, and today we're hanging out with Grammy-nominated musician, singer, and songwriter. We have JP Saxe here. JP, how are you?
I'm great, Emily. Thanks for having me. Different intro since last time.
I was about to say, does that intro ever get old?
No, it has not gotten old yet, and I hope it never will. And you didn't get to intro me that way the last time we spoke. I feel like you interviewed me so early in my career that we're just growing up together out here.
It's just crazy to think the different milestones we've had, JP, and what a year you've had. I mean, when you think back on this year, like what comes to mind?
I mean, I got to share one of my favorite songs I've ever done with more people than I've ever got to share a song with. And I got to go through that whole journey with someone I love a whole lot. I mean, that will always be at the center of this year. I think we had to get better at finding the silver linings this year. I'd never really thought of that as a skill, but watching my community find what's made an otherwise terrifying year beautiful for them, I've really learned to see finding silver linings as a skill, and mine have not been that hard to find.
Let's talk about the album. First off, I am so excited about this. What can you tell us about it so far?
So as of today, it's done. You know, when you're in grade 5 or grade 4 and you do you draw something in art class and then all the kids walk it over to the laminator and then it really feels like it's finished? We're laminating the album.
Laminating the album. I love it. Okay, so tell me about the album. What's on there? What sides of JP are we going to see?
All of them. There's more of me in this album than I've ever been able to get into a piece of art. It's more vulnerable, it's more sincere, it's more human than anything I've ever made. I mean, it's 13 songs. It's definitely the biggest body of work I've ever put together. I just tried to follow the same guiding principle I have always with songs, which is, does it feel real? Does it feel sincere? And does it help me access the part of me that is harder to access without art? That's what I've always loved about songs. My favorite songs have always been the ones that just help me get to a part of myself that I don't really know how to get to without it. How to look at the parts of myself that scare me a little bit. How to have those conversations with myself that feel a little more vulnerable than I'm just ready to do by myself, but a song can kind of hold my hand and walk me through it. I tried to make an album that does what my favorite music has always done for me. And I think we did it, and I can't wait to share it with everyone. And I can't wait to play it for you. I will happily play it for you before it comes out.
I'm so excited for that. And you know, one thing that I love about you and your work, and I've told you this from the beginning, is I feel like you go so specific and personal that the experiences feel universal, because you're like, wait, I maybe haven't done just that, but I know that feeling. Is that kind of how you approach songwriting?
Absolutely. I feel like it's something filmmakers have understood for a long time. My favorite movies have always been situations and narratives that I don't specifically relate to at all, but there's a humanity in it that feels so honest that it brings me to the parts of my life that are specific to me. You know, I watched an interview with Phoebe Waller-Bridge where she said in the making of Fleabag, she knew a scene needed to stay if it scared her a little bit.
Oh, wow.
And there's actually a song that found its way onto the album after I saw that interview that I'm not sure I would have put on the album otherwise. There's some songs on there that scare me a little bit. They're so personal that they're a little frightening, but I think that's what makes them necessary, because if I can't allow those songs to feel like they're coming from the parts of me that scare me, how can I expect them to get to the parts of a listener that scare them?
My question for you on that too, JP, is like, how do you prepare to release something so personal and intimate into the hands of so many people that are going to listen to it?
Yeah, I've definitely started having small anxiety attacks in the shower. The shower is it's an introspective place for me. So I'm just there and I think about like, oh, they're gonna know that, huh? And then I get a little frightened, but then I remember that being an artist means people are gonna sing along to the parts of me that scare me. And what's more validating in our humanity than getting to share it in such a tangible way? So it's both frightening, but also incredibly liberating, and my favorite thing in the whole world.
And we also have to talk about your collaboration too with Marin Morris in Line by Line, which was kind of an ode to songwriters. What was that process like working with Marin?
Well, Marin's brilliant, and I'm a massive fan of her and her music. So you never really know when you work with an artist you love if it's going to be as effective in the room as you hope it would. But it just happened really easily. We had a really great conversation, and my favorite songs are always in sessions where the conversation turns into the song, where you're not like, all right, what should this line be? What should this verse be? It's, oh, that thing you just said, that should totally be the pre-chorus. And that's how that session went.
As a songwriter, do you feel like you sometimes have to tweak some things around so it flows better, even though if it wasn't like the exact words you wanted to use?
There are some nuances to to what can happen in a session that can be challenging to compartmentalize with your partner. There are some interesting subtleties to being in a relationship with another songwriter. The feelings that you aren't super stoked on your partner having can be challenging to be okay with or accept or receive lovingly. And sometimes you're in a session and, maybe one of the other songwriters suggests a line that feels really, really good, but maybe isn't going to feel really, really good to hear to all parties involved. You just have to do that little equation in your head of of where your priorities are going to be.
And now, speaking of that, you're in a relationship with Julia Michaels. We love Julia at iHeart. Was there some collaboration on this album of yours?
It is a fun little story. I haven't told this yet. So we're both about to put out our albums, right? Hers comes out before mine, and we both worked on each other's albums. And we had this moment a few months ago. It was 2 a.m. where we live together, so we're sitting in the kitchen, and we're both kind of tripping that our albums could be a little bit better. Like both having this moment of insecurity, being like, I just feel like maybe there could be one more song. Maybe it could get a little better. So we're like, well, let's give it a shot. So we did 2 days writing for her and 2 days writing for me. And in those 4 days, we wrote her first single on the album and my first single on my album.
Stop. Was there ever a time when you guys are writing in those 2 days each for each other that you came up with an idea for the other one? How do you decide like what feels more right for each other?
I think we both have a pretty clear understanding of what is my voice and what is hers. Her songs feel so distinctly hers, and I hope that there's enough identity in mine that they feel pretty distinctly mine too. So it's a different process depending on who we're writing for, who sort of leads the lyricism.
I do love like the sweetness of line by line, the songwriter, and then Julia with All My Exes.
That's the song I'm talking about.
Oh, that's a song.
So that was the last song we wrote for her album. That was in those 2 days when we were like, maybe there's one more song.
Oh my.
All Your Exes for her, and then we wrote my next single for me.
Okay, so we have some collaborations. Who else would you love to collaborate that you haven't with before? And do you have more collaborations on this album?
Yes, there are more collaborations. I have always thought of music as a team sport. So if I'm a fan of an artist, I want to work with them. It's so fun for me to get to dive into the world of someone's artistry that I love. And I've had a blast with the collaborations I've done in the past, and I see no reason for that ever to change. So yeah, tons of artists I want to collaborate with. I want to make songs with Stevie Wonder and H.E.R. and Paul McCartney and Carole King and Alessia Cara. There's lots of people. Before
we let you go, JP, we have a few rapid fire questions. So I'm going to say the first part of a sentence and you just fill in what the first thing that comes to mind.
Scary, I'm ready.
I mostly wrote this album in
this room that you're currently talking to me in.
The happiest I've been this year so far is...
Okay, so there's the show on Netflix called Blown Away. It's a glass blowing competition, which I became super obsessed with. And I just bought a piece of glass art from Deborah, who won the glass blowing competition. It hasn't arrived yet, but just like knowing it's on its way, I'm very happy.
My favorite snack to eat while I create is?
Boba. I'm on a boba a day
really?
Routine right now. It used to be 2, but it was getting a little intense.
My secret to combat writer's block is?
Write as many bad songs as I can. For me, personally, writer's block is the fear of making something that will make me feel like I'm not as good as I want to be.
Did you feel pressure coming out with more music after something like If the World Was Ending?
Mostly no, because If the World Was Ending is exactly the kind of song I love to make. I just trust that if I continue to make music from a place that's sincere and is aimed at my own taste, then, I can continue a career that looks like what If the World Was Ending got started. But then a little bit, yes, because, getting a Grammy, Song of the Year nomination before your first album is a little odd, mostly validating, a little intimidating, and I don't feel like I'm trying to do something other than exactly what I do naturally.
Okay, our last one, you probably can't answer this one, but my favorite song on the album is?
Track 5.
Track 5. Listen, is there a thing with track 5? Is track 5 a special place on the album lineup list?
A little bit. I changed the track listing. Literally, I have in my iPhone notes, I have the album track list as of September 2nd, album track list September 4th. And then every 2 or 3 days, there's a new track list. And I changed it the final time yesterday. We finalized it today. It was literally up to the very end I was making changes. Track 5 is the one that scares me the most, which is why I'll say it's my favorite. Also, track 13 is a pretty scary one.
JP, thank you so much for being here. It's always so great to see you, and congratulations on all your success. And we're so excited for the album to come out.
Thank you, Emily. My pleasure. And I'll talk to you in a couple months.
We'll see you then. And thank you all for watching. Make sure you stream all of JP Saxe music on iHeartRadio, and we'll see you next time.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. Did you like that video? You can check out more over here. And don't forget to subscribe to iHeart right here. And if you're already a longtime fan, make sure you ring the bell down below so you don't miss a single video. Bye guys.